Hello. Okay. This does the same thing that Particles did, where when I press the page up and page down, which are my recording things, it goes up or it goes up. Page up is my recording thing. Alright, so now we're gonna start back off. In the blink of an eye, a week had already passed. My training alternated between each of the Reapers. I would train in the morning, go to lunch with some of the guys, or Lilia when they were too busy. In the afternoon, they taught me the process of the reapings, but I had yet to actually witness one. Well, except for Kaim tossing that man into hell. It was like an uncomfortable, intrusive thought that forced an unpleasant itch in my throat whenever I recalled it, but one I needed to get used to. And fast, since I'd be going to see my first execution today. Wait, not execution, but, accompaniment to the other side, was it called? How are you feeling? Fine, totally fine. I felt like I had swallowed a net full of butterflies and was struggling to keep them contained in my throat. You sound anything but fine. I can't blame you. The scenery around us was so beautiful, but we had such a sad task ahead of us. I think Valkii could tell I was dragging my feet. Even though he had long strides, he slowed his pace for my sake. Of course, even if my stamina was now stronger than ever, it was my heart that lay heavy in my chest. Even in death, it perhaps was my greatest burden. I wanted to be more rational than emotional, but I found I'd wanted to give way to the latter more often. Have you read the file for this case? I have not. Kaim said it was particularly tragic, so I was afraid to. Considering I had a tragic end myself, I should be a bit more prepared for such matters by now, but I was told our companion today would be a child. There were some things I think one could never be used to. It is a sad tale. Are you sure you don't wish to know now to prepare yourself? He stopped walking and turned fully to face me. Concern along with pity was reflected in his eyes, and I couldn't bear to look into them any longer. All right, tell me. He regarded me for a little longer, but began to walk ahead again while speaking. Timmy grew ill one day. His parents are people from a rural area, not well educated, but desperate for their child to grow better. So they handed him to a quack that fed him nothing but water disguised as medicine. No. I gasped, outraged. A rage I had long quelled rose up inside me again. I bit the inside of my cheek and focused on my steps. He was doing this to many families, to patients of all pages. Ages? How he got away with this, I have no idea. Bribery? I offered this with naught but contempt. Is it Valkii or Valkii? I cannot remember for the life of me, and it's bothering me. Valkii shared a sigh of disgust with me and ran a hand through his hair. Most likely, I'm afraid. The man had lined his pockets well enough. While stealing from helpless families, naturally, most of the patients withered away. His entire operation would move from town to town. My jaw clenched tightly as my fingernails dug into the flesh of my palm. I could picture this happening all too clearly in my head. I wish that this tale was beyond belief, but I know better. And did none of the workers say anything? They did not. How despicable. I suppose they suffered from absolute poverty as well, therefore should anything happen to their own. What would happen to me, my family? I suppose that is why it is easy for others to watch someone suffer. I've never been in that position, though, so I have no right to say anything. Still, I just can't imagine letting such an atrocity happen before my eyes. I apologize. This isn't directed towards you.
I do not mind. Although, it should be directed at me.
He added this so quietly I figured I wasn't meant to respond. Valkii, how do I approach Timmy? Talk to him gently. How? Hello, you're dead now. Come with us. I feel dreadful even thinking those words. I feel Aries would do something like that. Even he has some tact. I shall be with you the entire time, do not worry. If you have any reservations, look to me and I shall assist. Does it ever get easier telling someone they've passed? Only when you are taking them to heaven. He sighed softly, searching for the right words to say, then looked up. I followed his gaze. The sky was as bright and blue as ever. Despite the tragedy that has occurred, nothing marred the beauty around us. Lucky for us, it is a beautiful day. That only makes it sadder. No, he'll have a beautiful departure. He nudged the small of my back gently, and I dragged my feet towards the little mousy-haired boy now in front of us. He couldn't be any older than 9. He looked hale and hearty, though. I suppose the body must be restored in death. Taking a deep breath, I crouched down to his level, then tapped his shoulder. With a start, he turned around, but smiled brightly when he noticed me. Hello there, friend. Hi, who are you? My name is Valkii, and you are? My name is Timothy, but I like it when people call me Timmy. Well, little Timmy, he didn't specify the little, he might take offense to that. We have a trip to take together. Where are we going? Can I just say heaven outright? I can't, right? It sounds like a scam. Do you like puppies? Oh, do you like puppies and ponies? I like cats. Me too, Timmy. Where we are going, you can play with lots of them. That also sounds like a scam. But it worked. The child brightened up and rocked back and forth on his feet. Well, it's a child. I don't think he even understands the concept of a scam. Really? Of course. I looked at Valkii for confirmation that there would actually be cats, and he nodded. But my parents... His little fists balled up at his sides, and he swallowed. I'm finally back home, but I can't talk to them. His eyes glistened and his voice shook, telltale signs that one was about to break down in tears. Although the one in question might have been me first. Are they ignoring me because they're mad at me for getting sick and causing trouble? He pointed to the distance where a crying couple huddled together all by themselves. The husband was holding up the wife, who clutched onto his shirt, her fingers twisted into the fabric as she agonized over the loss of her son. Mama! Papa! But, of course, they could never hear him again. They're not ignoring you. You didn't cause them trouble. You're just somewhere far away from them. I wanted nothing more than to comfort him, but what could I even say? I held out my arms to hug Timmy. While he didn't push me away, he didn't move forward. But I'm right here! He put his little arms around my shoulders, his own small ones shaking, and buried his face into my arm. Hiccups that would only be heard by the three of us broke the peaceful air around us. Daggers scraped against my heart, and I knew this would be a scene I could never forget. We stayed like that for a while as my mind searched for words to tell him what had happened. It's like a fairy tale. They can't see you anymore, or hear you, or touch you, but you'll meet again one day. You're just on two different sides of the same world. What do you mean? You know, how when people turn into stars when they... Goodness, I couldn't do this. I aimed a pleading gaze towards Valkii when Timmy saved us both from having to say anything more. Oh, I see. I'm dead, aren't I? His voice was as soft as his footsteps, tiny crunches on the grass as he walked out of my arms and turned around. I stood up and rested a hand on his shoulder. The atmosphere was forlorn, and it was as though I had lost my own family for a second time. You're a clever child, Timmy. I remember being really, really tired and hungry. I remember wanting Mama's stew. Then I woke up here. I was waiting for a while, and then Mama and Papa came. I had so much to tell them. I really wanted to get better, but I just got more sleepy every day. I'm a ghost right now, right? Do you think I can haunt the bad man? Although I did not condone lying, I felt that this situation called for it. I do wish he could do a little haunting, but I don't want him to turn into an evil being. I wonder if I could haunt them in his place. You're not a ghost, Timmy, just kind of a spirit, ready to go to heaven. You can meet your parents again there one day. I looked at Valkii, hoping it was okay to say so. It won't be too long of a wait, Timmy. You can tell them everything again soon. I don't want them to come fast. That means they die too, right? I hope they can be happy with my little sisters. I'm really patient. That you are. But do you think I could go take one last look at my mama and papa? Of course. We will be here waiting for you. I won't take too long. He scurried away, and I realized that the grass did not fold under his feet at all. He could never play again. No longer could he enjoy the beauty of the planet, only its grievances. We should leave him be for a while, let him make his final farewells and be at peace. He is a strong child. He is, stronger than I am. Are you all right? Do you need to return home? I can make it. I'm sorry for bringing you here. Nonetheless, thank you for coming. This would have been difficult without you. His hand shook a little, but he placed a broad hand on my head, and I welcomed the warmth. His strokes were gentle against my hair. With each caress, I felt the pangs in my heart dull just a little. You're just saying that. I felt like a mess. I still feel like a mess. I would have stopped you if I thought that was the case. Do you think I'd let you break a child's heart? You mean even more than I already have? You were very kind, Valkii. Poor child. As I said those words, I could feel my sadness transforming into something darker. I want to burn down those sham hospitals. Truly. He sighed and pat my shoulder while I was wondering where one could buy supplies to do such a thing. Wait, are you serious? Yes, such despicable people. I can't bear it. How can they get away with this? I understand exactly how you feel, but we can't do anything of that sort. Why? Because it's a sin? Because it is not our place. You and me, we guide people to their destinations after death. We are not allowed to interfere. I'm not interfering. I'm just making the world a better place. What happens after you burn it down? How many people would die? They let that child suffer. What does it matter? If I have to serve my sentence here because I enabled my friend, then why should those people live? They enabled a child to die. What's the difference? They have circumstances, so did I. But I'm still here, aren't I? No matter what I did, this was my life now. No matter what happened, I was fated to execution, and now punishment. Valkii, listen. When I tell you we cannot, I mean that we are powerless. If beings like you and I step out of bounds, the consequences will be dire, not only for you and I, but for all the others as well. Is there nothing I can do? These people have innocent families, families that cannot survive without the people you wish to harm. Sometimes we can't do anything. I hate it. I know, I do as well. But I'll make a strong recommendation that they all go to hell when the time comes. Unless their souls were collected already. Which is one of the reasons why we cannot interfere with things that have already passed. I don't understand why this child had to wait longer than those that have wronged him. Because the best souls are the ones that bear the most patience. It is the evildoers we must punish quickly. I suppose. I didn't wish to speak any longer. I wasn't angry at Valkii. I was angry at the world, and myself for still not being able to do anything. In life, I was trying to work towards something better, but in death, my only role was to be a witness and a felicitator. While I had been enjoying my time here, I remember now that this truly was a punishment for me. How did everyone else live like this the rest of the time? Why did Valkii volunteer for this? How can you willingly do this job? He took a sharp intake of breath, his usually smoothed face quirked in surprise. It was a bold question, and the silence that followed had me expect to be reprimanded. But instead, he answered with patience and a melancholic air that almost made me regret asking.
Because I'd rather be here than live amongst the people who commit such terrible acts.
Wouldn't you have gone to heaven, though? So you wouldn't be here. Would you have gone to hell? He got a chance to, he chose, right? So, okay, my question is, if you go to hell, do you get a choice to become a Reaper? She would have gone to hell. But her circumstances are different, right? So if Valkii was going to go to hell, but he's had a choice, was the circumstances different for him as well? Because, like, in heaven, he wouldn't be around people who commit such terrible acts, because they'd be good people, right? Unless there's something I don't know. I must be remembering wrong where they were talking about heaven and when he chose to do the Reaper job, that he was at heaven and then he chose to not go to heaven. I must be remembering that wrong. Even though it was 2 days ago. I didn't understand it, but I would keep these feelings to myself. I didn't know how much time had passed. Valkii continued to give me his silent solace. The young boy finally returned and smiled, simply as if he was saying goodbye before going to school for the day. I prayed that time would pass in a blink for him, so that he could be with his family that much faster. Are you ready to come with us? While trying not to burst into tears, I held out a hand for him to take. His little fingers curled against mine, and it only carved out deeper holes in my heart. I was allowed to see just the outskirts of heaven. They wouldn't allow me into the reception area. I was allowed up to the walkway before the guard pointed a spear in my direction. My apologies, Valkii. You know, my job would be easier if they let me in. The guard said nothing. You can go, okay, so no, he cannot possibly have been going to heaven because... No, he can't possibly have been going to hell because he's allowed in. Right? Unless he's done enough... He chose this, so he is this forever now, right? So maybe his punishment is done, but he can still be a Reaper because he chose it. I don't know. I'm actually so confused by this because maybe I'm misinterpreting something. I don't know. You can go wait in the lounge for me. I'll show you how to submit your report. It is quite simple. Technology really is a marvel. I see. Well, little Timmy, I wish we had met under better circumstances. You are a kind child. May heaven grant you what our home could not. You too, nice lady. Will I see you again? Who knows? Maybe you might. Although they won't let me in here, maybe you can visit me one day. He smiled brightly and shook my hand heartily. It's been a while since I got to talk to someone like this. Thanks for bringing me here. I'll name one of the cats after you. I'm truly honored. That was all I could say before my throat clogged up. Ah, the waterworks really were coming. I bid goodbye with one last shaky wave and scurried back to the office. I hid my face until I made it here. The door slammed a bit too loudly behind me, but I didn't care, as long as no one had noticed. I sank into the couch and buried my face into the softest-looking cushion laying beside me. I hate this. I realized that complaining into a pillow was not the most professional thing to do, but most professions didn't involve that much emotional damage, did they? The complaining didn't seem to help much. Maybe I'll go get some fresh air. Now that I knew how to work my device, I could come back quickly if Valkii was looking for me. I hope no one sees me. If we get the whole common route, which is... Unless I've read something wrong, I feel like my memory is really shit lately. Or for the last few years. But I feel like I remember being like, oh, the whole common route is out. No, I could be thinking about that wrong. Because I was like, if it's only 5 chapters, then that means the routes themselves have to be pretty beefy, right? And I really like that. I like a semi-short common route where you get to know the guys a little bit. Kind of maybe get an inkling of what is going on with them and what their issue might be in their route. And, you know, you get the basics down of how the world that you are playing in works. I like that. Or I like what Amnesia did, where you just get popped into a route. I really liked what Amnesia did, I'm not gonna lie. Because sometimes the common routes can get so bogged down in nothing, and that's when it starts to bother me. But so I wouldn't mind if if the common route is only 5 chapters, as long as the routes themselves are beefy. I wanted to be by myself for a while. I was embarrassed about how strongly I felt and how poorly I probably looked. I knew they'd all be kind and try to comfort me, but that just made me feel worse. I felt like I relied too much on these men. I started walking out on my own, but I don't know where I am. I figured I could retrace my steps, but I had no idea of little else. Instead of feeling anxious, though, I yearned to explore the place more. It was a bit quiet, not having anyone to guide me today. Nonetheless, I enjoyed the freedom I had for my little excursion. What's the phone option? When can I like talk to people on the phone? Because that seems to be like a thing, like you get a certain amount of calls and texts and stuff or something like that. Since my phone had yet to ping, I kept wandering further than I had intended to. The streets were similar to the ones in the modern world. I had seen some of these views from the car every day, but it was the first time I walked here myself. Oh, kitty! There was a little cat. A little cat. Oh, kitty! There was a little cat in front of me. How precious. Here, let me pet you. Here, let me pet you. Hi, Pookie. Don't let him fool you. He's here for treats. Which I'm not going to give him, because I gave him a lot earlier. It gave me a scornful look and traipsed into the alleyway. No, come back. Come back! Just one pet! I followed after it quickly and crouched down. My skirt really needs a good wash after today. I felt a little stupid, but I hopped forward as the cat continued to saunter into the shadows. Come here. I wiggled my fingers in what I hoped was an inviting gesture. Inviting to get chomped at this rate.
Who are you? Why are you here?
Oh, this is Lucian, right? The other character that doesn't have a root or does have a root? I don't know. Oh my god, is the cat speaking? Ah! Sorcery. I fell onto my bottom in shock.
Why are you yelling?
Yeah, it's a nice voice actor. Ah! Oh. Ah! I looked up to see that it was indeed a person speaking instead of a cat. What are you doing? Shit, I didn't think anyone would be here but the cat. For the record, I normally would never go into dark alleys alone, but I figured there would be no harm here. Also, cat. Why are you? Who are you? Where did the kit? Ow! Ow! My cat is hurting me. Stop! Why are you hurting me? Where did the kitty go? A bored meow rang out from behind the frightened man. Kitty! Psst, psst, psst. Does anyone actually do that to get cats to come to them? Psst, 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 psst. I used to go... Oh. It worked. Hi, Pookie. I don't know if I've ever said it, but his name is Mister, by the way. My friend got a cat. And called it Pate. And it's Pate de Rolo from Critical Role Campaign 3. I got this one around the same time. And I called him Mister, which is another animal companion in Campaign 3 of Critical Role. What are you doing? So yeah. But I as you do with cats, you just end up calling them whatever. So I end up calling like Pookie. Just a lot of stupid shit. Hi, I'm not feeding you. Come here. Is that the piss? No, because people go pss, pss, pss. But then again, I don't know how you would describe going. The little brat padded up to me finally, and I gingerly scratched behind its ear. So soft. The fur under my fingers was unbelievably soft, and its warmth called for my hand to continue giving it scritches. This is just what I needed after the emotional damage. It was therapeutic. Could I take it home? Oh my god, take it home. Aren't you a good girl? A low growl. A good boy? I took his silence as confirmation. Why are you letting her pet you?
You should leave, right now.
Perhaps he was attempting to be threatening, but I just wanted to pinch his cheeks. He stomped his foot for good measure, and I averted my face to hide a giggle. Why should I? This is our alley. You own this alley. It appears to be public property. Did Stasis have a homelessness problem? I had naively assumed that all beings here would be taken care of. He seemed much too old to be a teen with a rebellious streak. What's this kitty's name? Is it Mister? The kitty hissed. It's just Kitty. Oh! Is this Malthus or whatever? He's a cat? Or a furry. He's a furry. I didn't know he was a furry. It's just Kitty. I'll call you Mr. Kitty. Meow. It seemed favorable enough for him, for he leapt up onto my shoulder. Huh, you're lighter than I thought you would be. Or maybe I'm stronger as a Reaper now? Were you a human before? His eyes shifted from side to side as he spoke, and he kept his arms around himself, but his eyes trained on my face. He was like a kitten himself, feral and unsure whether to trust me. This cat is being weird. I think I'm pretty trustworthy, though. Well? That's right, I recently became a Reaper. Oh. He nodded as though something dawned on him. Initially, it felt as though he was trying to be aggressive, but now I could see curiosity in his eyes. Do you like it, being a Reaper? The question was a punch to the gut. I thought I did, but that was before I actually had to do any Reaper work. What did I expect? That I get to train, eat good food, and hang out with the guys every day? I could understand why the people around me were so jaded. I should be too, considering everything that brought me here. It was probably just a casual question. I had the need to offload my feelings, though, and this bristling stranger would have to deal with them. I hate bearing witness to tragedy. I hate being unable to do anything. I hate that my hands are tied, and I'm told that this is just how it is. It feels similar to my human life. He pondered this for some time and scratched his chin. To my surprise, he perched on a dusty crate, and the cat leapt from my shoulder and onto his head. How so? Well, today I had my first reaping. I had to take a little boy to heaven. Isn't it good he went to heaven? Yes, but he shouldn't have died in the first place. I wanted to punish the horrible people who did that to him. But I can't, and I hate it. Sorry for unloading all this on you. It's best you forget about that kind of thing. His brows furrowed in earnest concern, and something dark passed over his eyes. The stranger's words were spoken in an unexpectedly sage-like manner.
It won't do you any good to think about it. go back to where you came from.
If Malthus has a voice actor that's not my cup of tea, I'm never gonna say the voice acting is bad. Sometimes it's just not my cup of tea. For instance, I always watch like anime in Japanese. If there's a Japanese option for a game, I will play it in Japanese. It's just a preference, and but to my surprise, after going so long without really listening to like voice actors in English, I don't mind it actually. Some of them anyway. With a melancholy sigh, he waved me off. I can't. I died. I huffed at the man and he returned a frustrated sputter. Both of us had our hands on our hips while Mr. Kitty sat in the middle and looked at both of us to and fro. If anyone were to walk in here, we would look utterly ridiculous.
I mean, just go back to your Reaper friends. Live like they tell you to. Don't ask too many questions.
The urgent tone piqued my curiosity. What had happened to this guy? What about you? Why are you here? Are you a Reaper? A human? I mean, he looks like a demon, right? He has the ears. I peered into his face, trying to get a read on him. He flinched and hopped off his seat, shoes thudding as they hit the crates.
I'm someone that you should forget about. Don't tell anyone about me.
He looks like royalty, maybe, the way he's dressed, right? But then again, they all dress like that, so I don't know. He mumbled the last bit, his cheeks still flushed pink. Then he whipped around and waggled his finger in what I presumed meant to be a threatening gesture. I poked his finger with mine and he glared. No, pouted. I can't take him seriously. He's too cute. I mean it. I do, okay? Why not? My friends are nice. He squinted at me with a look that read, "Are you serious? How long have you been a Reaper again?" I felt a bit embarrassed to answer and decided to stare fixedly at my shoes while the cat batted at my heel. A week? You met them only a week ago? But Kym and the rest are really kind. He flinched once I said Kym. Did they have bad blood? Look, I don't get along with Reapers. I know an angel, too.
I'm okay. I don't get along with anyone. So please, just let me be.
Alright,
You
moody.
really are so nitpicky.
Excuse me? Am I, really? Oh god, was I being like Aries? I need to spend less time around him. I guess this is my cue to leave this guy and his cat to the alley. I think he should be grateful to have a visitor, though. It seems lonely here. Alright, it was nice to meet you,
Lucian.
Alright, so you want me to forget about you, but you tell me your name. Alright. For someone so on guard, he revealed that too easily. It must be a fake name. Not that there's any point arguing with him. Lucian, I'm Valkii. I curtsied and he shuffled his foot awkwardly, unsure whether to return the gesture or not. He decided against it and settled for a friendly nod. We had come a long way from yelling at each other in just one meeting. Be careful, Valkii. I'll do my best. See you, Lucian and Mr. Kitty. I bent down for one last scritch and decided to meander back to work before they noticed my absence. Meow.
What do you mean, see you? Hey, come back! Or don't. No, don't come back.
What do you want? What do you want from me? Belfaster hadn't called and I grew worried. Did something happen to delay him for so long? Perhaps I should have stayed with him, although I didn't think anything could go awry in such a holy place. Just as I was about to call him, he rang my phone. Speak of the devil? Reaper. Valfar, are you alright? Sorry for keeping you waiting so long. I was called away urgently to take care of something, but I can't seem to find you. Oh, I had gone out for a walk. I'll be right back. Oh no, will I get in trouble? They'll let me have lunch even if I get in trouble, right? Despite the flutter of excitement in my tummy from meeting a new person, my appetite had returned. With a lot to think about and a new secret in my heart, I hurried back to work in hopes that there would be food left for me. He's being a bad kitty cat. So, that was the first time you'd gone out on your own. I was not good at keeping secrets. I was sweating like a sinner in church. Thankfully, not literally, but I might as well have been soaked in sweat. Unfortunately, these damned men were shrewd, perceptive to a fault. Nary a twitch of my finger nor a jerk of my leg went unnoticed. I decided to sit on my hands, which perhaps only made it worse. I wanted some fresh air. By the time I had returned to the office, caught up with Velfar and submitted my report, technology was still more difficult than I expected. It had been time to return. The others were quite shocked that I had made my own excursion, considering how nervous I had been since my arrival, and I had been fielding their questions until now.
You went quite a way for fresh air.
I needed a lot of fresh air. What was he, an inquisitor? I was sitting in the armchair, which made it easier for the men to interrogate me from either side. Despite sitting on the most lush of cushions, their eagle eyes made me squirm uncomfortably. I was prey caught in their trap. I couldn't bear to look at them, but that would only make me appear all the more guilty. Did something happen when you were gone? You should have called one of us to go with you. I don't want to keep bothering you all. I looked around, seeking a lifeline, and Valkii came to my rescue. Though he quirked an inquisitive eyebrow, he mercifully did not question me further. Sayir was none the wiser to my dilemma, lost in his thoughts as usual. I am sorry your first reaping was under such sad circumstance. It is my responsibility to ease you into this life, and I failed you. Don't be ridiculous. She has to know what it's like. Aries is right, as much as I hate to say it. Excuse me? What's wrong with admitting I'm right? His eyes bore into the top of my skull, and I cleared my throat before continuing, and successfully ignoring his offended scoff. You didn't fail me. Sayir shook his head and pursed his lips in a rare show of reproach. There is no point in throwing her to the fire. Well, Aries threw me to the fire the first day. I grinned at him, and Aries rolled his eyes. His eyes were going to get stuck like that one day.
For the last time, I was not sending you to hell. Let it go.
I stuck my tongue out at him. Forgive me, I had seen you run past me, but I wasn't able to come find you right away. No, Sayir, I was being silly.
Aw, you must have been really shaken.
The first reaping isn't easy, and I took her for a particularly difficult one. While he was always so resolute, he slumped his head against his hand and sighed heavily. Is he back? He's back. His usual repose slipped. He's been bad. More bad lately. More like going places he shouldn't. He's biting me. He's biting my knee. Kitten, stop. His usual repose slipped into something a little more vulnerable. Even someone like Valkii could be tired, and it was my fault. Stop! In any case, it was a learning experience. I figured you would be the best partner to have for first time. Stop biting me! What's wrong with you? I still believe in that. And Valkii, not all deaths are sad. Really? There are many people who are content to die. Ow, ow, ow. Welcome it, even, after a long, fulfilling life. Those are the best deaths. Of course, some of those happy people also go to hell. Bad people also die happy. He pointed this out quite proudly. Zafan reached over and shook him, and the poor angel was left looking bewildered. Sayir. Sayir. And you all call me tactless. Oh, Sayir. While they scolded him, I burst into laughter. I doubled over and couldn't stop giggling. Tears of mirth fell from my eyes. I didn't have to look to see that they thought I'd gone mad. Perhaps I had. But Sayir's innocent bluntness was just what I needed to relieve the coil of stress that weighed down my gut. What did I say? Zapan joined in my chuckles, and the room filled with laughter, even from Aries. Oh, that's Lily. Bad people die happy, but they go to hell right after. I do not understand. Why are you all laughing? You're cute, Sayir. Sayir beamed. He's not cute. He's just stupid. No need to be so sour. Aw, you jealous? Shut up. Well then, if you're going to be so immature, I won't talk to you. Anyways, Valkii, what did you have to go and do? I realize I haven't been able to ask you yet. I cut off Aries before he could retort. It felt good. I had called him in for a favor. What's the favor for?
My, you're quite tenacious.
Oh, thank you. I put a hand on my cheek, pleased by his compliment. That means you need to mind your own business. Oh. Now, Aries, it's nothing so secretive. I just think today isn't a good time to tell you, that is all. Oh yes, she'll be frightened if you tell her about the malevolence. Sayir! My word, you cannot keep a secret in the world. He is a pure boy, leave him alone. Thank you, Sayir. I whispered and winked at him, and he flushed happily, obviously blithe to the glares pointed his way. What is happening, you guys? What are the malevolence? Oh my god. Okay, I thought he was on my books, and I don't want him to be on my books. You can't see my books. The cats are driving me crazy, man. Alright. I shall give you the short of it. Would that do? Yes, please. I nodded eagerly. Don't come crying to us when you have nightmares.
You can come to me.
Oh, but I can... Ouch. While Aries, Zafan, and Seir had their little tiff, I turned my full attention to Kaim. They are spirits that are malcontent. They are beings that are dangerous that need to be taken down quickly. We have been seeing them more frequently, therefore we need to eliminate them before they hurt you or anyone else. Oh, that does sound scary. We have a handle on it, although you mustn't slack on your training. Yes, I'd like to take a break and let you do some heavy lifting. I shall make no promises. May I have another refill, Kaim?
Any time. May your dreams remain as sweet as this drink.
While I smiled, I didn't realize then that I had yet to have a single dream since I'd arrived. But I had a lot on my plate. After all, I had to power up and learn to beat up evil spirits. What does that have to do with having dreams? Surely the more you process in the day, the more you have to process at night. And that might make you have more dreams. Before they could eat me, I mean, so that I could be a bigger help. The next few days had gone as normal as they could, and as I adjusted to a supernatural world. Actually, I'll see you in the next one. Because I'm chopping these up now.